Phase 1. What the apostles actually built. In the beginning, there was no separate religion called Christianity. There was a Jewish Messiah movement. Yahusha taught inside Israel's covenant story. His disciples worshipped in the temple. They kept the feasts and they read the law and the prophets. The first major crisis came when Gentiles began joining. The issue wasn't belief, it was identity. Did Gentiles have to become Jewish first? In Acts 15, the apostles met in Jerusalem to decide. They ruled that circumcision was not required as the entry point, but they did not remove covenant standards. They gave 4 instructions. Avoid idol-related food. Avoid sexual immorality. Avoid blood and from things strangled. If you read Leviticus 17 and 18, you see those same rules applied to the stranger who sojourns among you. The apostles were not inventing something new. They were applying Torah categories to a new situation. Gentiles were grafted into Israel's covenant life without ethnic conversion. The structure was still rooted in Israel's scriptures. That was the foundation, and it looked very different from what most people call Christianity today. Phase 2, separation, begins now. In the year 70, the temple was destroyed. Judaism reorganized around synagogue life and Torah study. As the Messiah movement spread, it became increasingly Gentile. Later Jewish tradition preserves a prayer known as the Birkat HaMinim, a blessing directed against sectarians or heretics. Scholars debate exactly when it was introduced and who it originally targeted. But over time, believers in Yahusha were likely included among those seen as outside the synagogue's boundaries. Separation widened. At the same time, Rome viewed the movement with suspicion. As long as Christians were seen as a Jewish sect, they had some legal protection. But as they became distinct and refused public sacrifice, that protection weakened. Refusing to participate in emperor worship was seen as disloyalty. So believers found themselves squeezed from both sides, too centered on Messiah to remain fully inside synagogue structures, too exclusive to blend into Roman religious life. The apostles were gone. Leadership patterns began to change. Writers like Ignatius of Antioch emphasized obedience to a single bishop in each city. That language does not appear in Acts. The structure was beginning to shift. Phase 3, survival and structure. Through the 2nd and 3rd centuries, persecution came in waves. Under emperors like Decius and Diocletian, Christians were pressured to sacrifice to Roman gods. Many refused, many died, but the movement survived. And then something changed. In 313, Constantine legalized Christianity, not because the apostles requested imperial backing, but because the empire saw usefulness in unity. Once the faith was no longer illegal, it began receiving state support. In 321, Constantine issued a civil law honoring Sunday as a day of rest. It was described as the Venerable Day of the Sun. That language reflects Roman culture, not Torah. The rhythm of worship was now shaped by imperial law. Phase 4, councils and control. In 325, the Council of Nicaea met. Its main issue was doctrinal, the nature of Messiah. But something else was happening. The council pushed for a unified celebration of the resurrection, separate from the Jewish Passover calendar. Over time, Easter replaced Passover observance in most of the empire. Later, the Council of Laodicea instructed Christians not to Judaize by resting on the Sabbath, but to honor Sunday instead. This was not a suggestion. It was institutional direction. The calendar that shaped the apostles' world was being replaced. By 380, under Emperor Theodosius, Nicene Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire. Now theology was backed by law. Now deviation could be punished. The faith that began around a shared table in Jerusalem had become intertwined with imperial power. Phase 5, hierarchy and authority. As the empire continued, church leadership became more centralized. In the West, the Bishop of Rome gradually gained prominence. The structure began to resemble Roman administration: clear hierarchy, top-down authority, regional oversight, legal enforcement. Over centuries, this developed into what we now call the Roman Catholic Church. A pope, bishops, canon law, sacramental systems, state partnership. This is far removed from the decentralized gatherings described in Acts. The apostles never established an imperial hierarchy. They appointed elders in cities, plural, local, accountable. The model changed, and Scripture had warned about change. The law itself says not to add to or take away from what Yahweh commands. The prophets warned of leaders who would alter what was given. The apostles warned that after their departure, distortions would arise. History shows that power, once attached to religion, reshapes it. Phase 6. What we see today. What most people call Christianity today is the product of these centuries. Sunday worship, Easter detached from Passover, institutional hierarchy, doctrines enforced by councils. None of those features are described in the Jerusalem assembly of Acts 2. The transformation didn't happen overnight. It happened gradually, through pressure, through politics, through survival, through empire. What began as a Torah-rooted Messiah movement became a Gentile imperial religion. And when human authority merges with divine teaching, change follows. That is not accusation. It is history. The question now is not whether change happened. The question is whether we recognize how far the shape of modern religion stands from its beginnings.